Walthalls, welcome to the MSUM Dragons podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Well, we wanted to have you both on because it was just Father's Day last weekend. And if there's a unique scenario between head coach Chad Walthall and volleyball player Brooke Walthall in the Dragons family. So when we think about things that are more than a game, we think about family. And we think about you two as an interesting duo within our athletics department. So I just want to first ask, how was Father's Day, Chad?
Father's Day was great because it was uneventful. We actually were in the Twin Cities visiting some family, and so we were all there on Saturday and then came home Sunday, and it was really uneventful, which actually for, I don't know, most fathers, but certainly me, it was awesome. I just got to chill all day, which sometimes you don't get to do much as a dad.
Right, and especially with 4 kids and all of whom are athletes. So what is it like to be a dad of so many athletes and having that athletic backbone in your family?
Well, for both Jen and I, it's been great because we just love sports. Obviously I'm a basketball coach, but we've always considered ourselves just sports junkies, not necessarily basketball junkies. I've enjoyed watching Brooke play volleyball probably more than anything. And I didn't know very much about the sport when she got into it. I know at least a little more than I used to, but we love the fact that our kids are active, most importantly. And we think sports is a great tool to teach kids, friendships and leadership skills and perseverance and learning how to handle losing and winning. And there's so many life lessons that you can learn in competition, no matter what sport you play. Mm-hmm. And so we've been really grateful and blessed to have all our kids interested as well. And it's been fun following them. And we're just big fans ourselves. So it's been good.
And so, Brooke, what is it like with having Chad as the basketball coach, your mom over in the Alumni Foundation, and you out there as a Dragon on the volleyball team? And what's that like as in your family of just having so many dimensions of being a Dragon involved?
Now, like that I'm a college student, it feels a lot different since I was in 4th grade, and it didn't really click to me, because now being in college, it's like my dad is like my friend's coach. Like, it's not just like I'm in 4th grade and there's all these like older guys, it's just like they're my friends now. And it's kind of fun because it's like my dad's team, I guess, like comes to the volleyball games, and it's just like fun because we all hang out. And I don't know, it's definitely a lot different. And I like the fact that like now I'm like an athlete, so I'm kind of like getting a whole different perspective on it compared to when I was younger. And I don't know, that's just how I feel about that.
Interesting. Obviously there's a lot of shifts between the levels of high school and collegiate play, but when you become that athlete and you have all these relationships around you, how important was it to have that support system around you, from Chad being down the hall in Nemzik and your mom being across campus, but having all these relationships with the team and the teams that you've watched growing up as well here in Moorhead? What did having that support system around you make that transition to college a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, it definitely did. It's nice just to know that like I have people that are like always there, just like constantly supporting me, especially that they're nearby. I feel like it's like nice, like sometimes before practice I just like go say hi to my dad quick, or like if I'm going to the trainer I'll just be like, oh hey dad, like going to practice. Like that was always kind of nice. But yeah, it's definitely like important just to like have that support system. And I feel like a lot closer even to just my dad by him just like being at the college with me. I feel like it's just, I don't know, it's like a different type of like relationship now, where it's like he's not just like my coach, like basketball coach from when I was a little girl. It's just like we're like more friends.
Yeah, fun parts of growing up. So what's it like with the boys as well? And just how do you guys balance so many athletes in your family? Because I'm sure they watch you play growing up, and you're watching them play as they go through high school, and And as Bo comes up through all this stuff, what's that like in balancing all these different sports, all these different athletes, and a collegiate coach in the mix in your family?
I don't know. It is kind of crazy because sometimes I'll get done with practice and I'll have to go to a high school basketball game for my brothers, and then the next night my dad has a game. So I'm like, well, I gotta go stand in the bowl.
You mean you want to, right?
Oh, I want to, but like honestly, like it's so fun to like just watch even my brothers just like get higher and higher in like their skill and everything, and then Bo like has his like middle school games and everything. It's so fun just to like go from like school to school. It's literally like middle school, high school, and then college. And it honestly keeps me so busy. And I like personally like basketball is like my favorite sport to watch. Like I could never get tired of it. But it's kind of funny like when I talk with like my friends about just like, oh, I'm like going to the game, and they're like, oh, like are you gonna sit with your family or with your friends? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because like my grandparents always come to the games, and then there's like people that I've known my whole life at these games. So it's kind of like weird to like balance it all, even at like the college like Division II games at MSUM. Like I'm kind of like talking with my grandparents, and then I go back to like my friends in the student section. So it's really different, but I love it.
And sitting next to Jenny during a Dragons basketball game was
I kind of transitioned out of that.
Chad, what about you, man?
No, I couldn't even.
Chad, what about you? What's it like to balance all these athletes and sports in your life?
It's I don't consider balance. It's what we've always done. It's like you don't know anything else. I think the only thing that sometimes gets disappointing is, you miss some games because you are a collegiate coach and you have your responsibilities. But we're very lucky because I've never missed a game. I just haven't been there. So I've been able to watch, because of our technology that, back in the olden days, we never used to have. And so at least I get to watch and not miss anything that way. And then, of course, it's something that we've always done. So I don't know if we've ever known any different, and I don't know if we want to know anything different because, as Brooke said, it's just fun watching. I love watching just not only our kids play, but just the teammates and how they improve, and just the camaraderie and the communication and the friendships. It's really neat to watch as a coach, but more than anything as a parent. We got to, Brooke, obviously watching her from a youngster to a teenager to now a young adult, and watching her growth and her leadership and her development over the years. It's a lot of fun just as a parent, and then obviously being a coach, you get a little bit more dialed in. And I got to tell you too, it is fun having her in Memphis. We've had probably our best conversations sometimes. Just stopping at the office, shuts the door, and we BS for about 5-10 minutes before she goes to practice or whatever. We never used to do that when she was home. She doesn't like me as much at home, so she likes me more now.
Well, I mean, to that point, you were also, I'm sure, coaches, as Brooke said, and I've seen you coach the boys as well. What's it like to coach your own kids? I mean, we talk about, us as parents, as teachers, and trying to teach them life. What's it like to coach your own kids, and now handing them off to other coaches to help them develop to their next levels?
There's always a fine line there, because I definitely think that you have to recognize what is enough and also loosen the reins a little bit. That's always a balancing act. I definitely don't think, Jen was an outstanding athlete, and she knows a lot about sports as well. And she's probably a little harder on our kids than I am, to be honest with you, in a good way, I mean. But, I think you have to be very positive. I think, if you're going to ask me, I think we're probably 75% positive, 25% constructive criticism.
Her eyes went directly to the side the second you said that.
Maybe it's closer to 50-50, but I guess in the perfect world, I'd like it maybe 70-30, but we're probably not. But again, there's a balancing act, because you don't want to sit there and say everything's hunky-dory and kumbaya and, Disney World. I mean, because that's not reality either. So, but we try to have a balancing act, and if something is really good, we'll let them know. And if something isn't good enough, our job to let them know too, as parents. So, it's just a part of parenting, I guess.
It's weird though, that coaching dynamic, because you insert competition into parenting. where it doesn't normally exist in most moments. And so to prepare them for competition, to push them past comfort zones, creates some different dynamics to relationships. How has those dynamics strengthened your relationships between each other?
Well, I think in Brooke's case, she's very much a self-motivator, and she's a high achiever. And so I don't think I've really, I don't know if it's more of a woman thing than a boy thing, man thing, or whatever. It just seems like she's always been very highly motivated and, wants to do well and works very hard. That's never been an issue for her. She's very highly competitive, feisty even.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but every kid's different. And so, you try to push certain buttons in a good way, and everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. And I always tell our team, just like our own kids, find your strengths, soar with them, utilize them, and then your weaknesses, just try to improve on them, whether they're skill or whether it's practice habits or, motivational tactics, whatever it is. And so you just try to balance it. And there's no perfect answer, Webby. I don't have all the answers. I'm learning as a coach, as a dad every day.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, you're a young parent yourself, and there's just every day is different. It's almost like the pandemic. You just never know what to expect. Everything's a little different every day, and you just do the best you can and try to stay as positive as you can, and just know, let your kids know more than anything, no matter what, you love them to death, and that's the most important thing. Whether it's sports or no sports, I think our family loves hanging out together. And I think that's the one thing, I guess, is important, and the biggest thing that I love is just like we all like to hang out together. We don't get, everybody gets sick of each other once in a while, but for the most part, we all really get along and like to hang out.
And Brooke, from the athlete's perspective, and having a parent as a coach and maybe two parents as coaches, and several coaches throughout your lifetime, and now in reaching the collegiate level, what advice would you have to parents in how to get the most out of an athlete who might be also their kid, to make sure that they don't cross that line of, we hear all the time in sports of kids being pushed so hard that they lose fun in the sport. How have you made sure that you kept fun in it and that balance with your parents as well in your career?
With volleyball, it was kind of more like my mom talking to me about these things because she played volleyball. And so I would always kind of like go to her for like technical advice. If I go to like my dad and I'm like, he'll be like, Brooke, you really just like didn't do that well that game. And I'm like, no, I know. Like, I don't know. Like, I take that, and because I know he's like a coach and I know he like understands. And I've like learned like as I grow up, like if I ask for like how I did, like I'm just gonna like expect like straight up answers, especially from my dad because I know he's a coach and I know he kind of knows what he's saying all the time. And so he's like, well, Brooke, like this is kind of like what happens at this level. Like you're gonna like if this happens, this is what's gonna happen. And I'm like, you know what? Like you're right. But like when I was younger, I'd always kind of just stick to listening to like my high school coaches, and when I would want to come home and I would want to hear more supportive things if I had a bad game. And I honestly personally like hated coming home from a tournament and hearing like things that I didn't do great or whatever unless I asked for it. I'd be like, I don't know what I did wrong there. Like, what can I do better? It's better to hear it when I ask for it first, I guess. And that's kind of like what kept me like going through like the whole, like, especially with my dad being a coach, like if I didn't ask for it, then it's kind of just like, I don't want to hear it. But if I ask for constructive criticism, I know it's going to be like healthy and like I'm going to want to hear it.
Well, great. And, we're running out of time, and it's fantastic to see so much of your family, as I've seen since, Coach got the job. When I was an assistant basketball coach within the same program, and seeing Chad take over and bring not just himself, but his whole family. He brought you, the boys, Bo, Jenny, everybody kind of came into MSUM together and has been a part of this journey of all of us. So I guess I want to end with that. It is, MSUM and its role in your guys' life and building you had to move, which is never comfortable. And that's just the life of a coach's family in most cases. And so when you moved here and you brought the whole family with, what is that being a part of the Dragon family meant to you guys now that we're growing the involvement with the MSUM family now that Brooke is a Dragon?
Well, I'll go first on that, and then I'll give it to Brooke. But I will say, the old saying, life is in the balance, right? I mean, the great thing about Division II athletics that I personally enjoy is that it's highly competitive, and it's terrific basketball and terrific athletes and terrific in all sports, no matter what the sport is. But it's just highly competitive, so that you get that part of it. But then there's a base where I've had good fortune for that MSUM has allowed me in certain situations to go and see something very important to me personally with our family, whether it's in sports or what have you, and maybe miss something. And I don't think that's necessarily looked upon as favorably in some other levels. And so the beautiful thing about Division II, and then in particular MSUM and the Fargo-Moorhead, is it is very family oriented. It's got a strong nucleus, and that's one of the reasons we love not only MSUM but the Fargo-Moorhead area is family's important. And whether it's our friends, our kids' friends, our coworkers and friends, family is strong. And so when you surround yourself with that, it makes your life enjoyable. And that's really what it's about, right? Having fun with your life. Right. So we've been blessed and fortunate, and we don't take it lightly. We know we're fortunate and appreciate the opportunity to be at MSUM and work at MSUM and enjoy the journey that we're having. So it's maybe a little bit more than you wanted to know, but here's Brooke.
So for my family, obviously, it's like I grew up at NEMSIC. I grew up literally going to my dad's office, literally NEMSIC. That's when I was younger, that's all I knew of MSUM was NEMSIC. I didn't really go to the classroom. When I went on my college tour, I was like, this is all here. Are you serious? I guess I didn't really think about it as much because I was just at NEMSIC my whole life. And I don't know. I know my mom seriously loves the people here. I love my teachers here. I guess growing up, I've met my mom's coworkers. I've met my dad's coworkers. I've just met so many people, and just I literally love everybody. And I just honestly immerse myself in just the college experience here at MSUM. I don't know, when I was younger, it was just totally just basketball. And now that I'm actually a part of the college, I just understand so much more. And I wouldn't just come to MSUM because my family's here, obviously my family's so important, but also just because of how much it meant to me personally, and how much I liked faculty and my coaches and my team. I don't know, I think that stuff is so important. And honestly, that's also a huge reason. It's not just because my dad's my mom, which some people might think, but it's honestly just because I love the school, and I just it's just I feel I belong here.
Well, awesome. And we love watching you play, and we love watching Chad coach because that's always entertaining. And I just want to say thank you both for joining us on the podcast and for being Dragons. And, we really appreciate it. And happy Father's Day, Chad.
And good luck to you in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully we wait a little bit longer than last time, but a lot of Dragons in the family. So thank you both very much. I appreciate the time tonight.
Yep.
See ya.